Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Fits here in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the world. But then you too are at the center of your world. We'll explain that later. The title of today's talk is The Dynamic Center of Trump. The Dynamic Center of Trump. I just posted, yesterday I posted and wrote about the New York Post, who splashed its headline, Trumpty Dumpty is falling. Can the Republicans put him back together again? And the New York Post was the bullhorn of Trump, like Fox, So if the megaphone, it turns against him, whoa, big things are happening. So let's look at what Trump really is in a wider screen. And can anyone replace Trump? Can DeSantis replace Trump? Or is Trump a unique phenomena, a unique American historical moment that cannot be duplicated? Can any king replace this king? So let's look at what the dynamic center means. We have to widen the boat here to see this more in universal terms rather than in historical terms. If you want to see something in universal terms, you have to see patterns you have to see a wave instead of the particle. You have to see that which creates the pattern instead of the particles in the pattern. So what is a dynamic center? Well, the best example I know of a dynamic center is a hurricane. So you have winds, but then when an eye forms, the winds integrate and orbit around the eye and gather in strength, because that's like a yin-yang. A yin-yang. Well, let's take my favorite Gestalt picture here. The old hag, here you see the old hag, here's her nose, here's her eye, or the princess, here's the princess's eye, she's looking away, here's her right cheek, you see? So you got the hag and the princess as a yin-yang. Now, if you were trying to figure out, if I asked you, I'll keep this up, if I asked you now, what is the picture here? Is it a hag or a princess? Now, whichever one you said, you'd be wrong. If you said, oh, it's about a princess, well, you're wrong, because the princess is a hag. Say, oh, it's about a hag. No, the hag is the princess. The princess is the hag is the princess. You can't choose one over the other. So they're going to go, but there has to be one. In other words, reality is one. It's one. It's not two, unless you're schizophrenic, or you have multiple personalities, then you see different realities, and they probably don't communicate with each other. So the concept, the idea here, the understanding we're working with here, is that what is the center? You see, the center would be the one. So using this as an example, what is the one? The hag or the princess? Yes or no? No or yes? Beauty or ugliness? Up or down? Winning or losing? So Trump came into power by saying there's only a princess, there's no hag. There's only winning. We're number one. The other one's losing. They're down. We're going to get bored with winning. We're going to win so much, we're going to get bored. So this whole movement, the eye of the hurricane, you see, we want to understand if Trumpism is a hurricane that was created by particular conditions in the ocean of reality, the warm waters of reality, created a Trump hurricane, and it gathered strength, that everybody got excited and got on board because you felt like you were winning. You had power. You were going somewhere. You're going to tear tear the liberals up, you see, and be the only one left standing. So anyway, this whole line gathers strength. But as you know, hurricanes, when it goes over, when it leaves the warm waters of the conditions that created it, it begins to lose strength. So all hurricanes are temporary. All hurricanes are impermanent. But they're held together by a dynamic center, or an eye. Now, in hurricanes, you have the airplanes, the hurricane hunters that fly into the eye, and it's sunny there, and it's peaceful, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. So the dynamic center is not either, the dynamic center is not the old hag or the princess, which is, one. It's not this one or the other. It's both ones in the same circle. It's both one. So the dynamic center is dynamic unity. Dynamic unity is the one that holds the two together in one container. The dynamic center is dynamic unity that holds the opposites of reality, yes and no, up and down, good and bad, white and black, yada yada, yada yada, two opposites. It holds the opposites together as one, but the one is empty. But the one is empty. And because it's empty, because the eye is empty, it can hold the opposites together. And they go around and around like a snake eating itself, gathering strength. Gathering strength. Whoa, you see. Gathering strength by eating itself. Each opposite eats just like the snake with two heads, the Ouroboros, going around, you see. That creates a dynamic unity and the feeling of growth and power. So our little egos, which are dynamic centers of opposites, of contradictions, and our little egos are all fragmented and frail and frightened because we don't know what the one is. Where everything is many, everything says it's the one. So what is the one? Well, we all want to be the one. We all want to be the one that has no seconds. That's what an ego wants. That's what a self wants. To be the one without a second. So if somebody else claims that I'm the one, you're going to have a little fight there, you see. It's like in a war, sane asylum, if two people in there claim to be Jesus, they're going to have a fight because there can only be one Jesus. So it can only be one Trump, you see. But let's get back to the dynamic center, this idea of the dynamic unity. See, dynamic is important because that's like a verb. It's like energy. It's not form. It's not a thing. It's dynamic. So it's a dynamic unity that contains the opposites in a Ouroboros or self-consuming. It's like when you stick a microphone in an amplifier. What does it do? It goes wow, 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 wow. Well, a dynamic unity is like that. It grows. Wow, 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 wow. Trump, 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 Trump. And everybody gets on. We want to win. We want to win, you see. We're beating the other guy. But at some point it reaches saturation. And you have to turn it off or it explodes the amplifier. So if Trumpism had no checks, you see, it would go wow, 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 till the whole world exploded. Like Hitler. Hitler was a dynamic unity. Hitler restored the unity of Germany as a dynamic center I am the word, I am the voice, I am Germany. You see, I am the one. And this generated the feeling and manifested power. I mean, he built all kinds of big stuff. And everybody in the world in the 30s, oh, this Hitler's really something else. Look what he's doing to Germany. He took Germany out of the trash and made it the most technological, advanced, they build cars and roads and industry. And wow, that's something, you see. Wow, 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 wow. But at the same time, you see, it was expanding to the point where it exploded like the mic in the amplifier. There's no check on it. So as long as Trumpism stayed over the warm waters of social media, right, as long as he stayed over the warm waters of social media unchecked, he was an expanding storm. And everybody would jump on because, whoa, I want to be on the winning side. You see, it's kind of like sports. But now conditions have changed. And suddenly, the hurricane is a tropical storm, and it drops in category until finally it's a breeze. A hurricane that was in Miami just went through Blackstone as a shower. As a breeze. Oh, there were some tornado warnings in Richmond, but in Blackstone, it was just a shower, it's just a little rainy day, that's all, a little rain, you see. Now it's gone. Where did it go? Where did it go? It lost its dynamic center. It's the dynamic center, the eye, which is, if you look at hurricanes, nothing. It's empty. And because it's empty, it is able to be a center. If it was something, in other words, if it was in ancient societies, primitive societies, pre-civilization societies, their dynamic center was form, be a mountain, be a statue, be a tree, an avatar. The home tree is the dynamic center. In Islam, the dynamic center is Mecca. For the Jews, it's Jerusalem. So every civilization has some kind of center, monument, something that around which the society evolves. You see, and with pre-modern societies, the center was always something. But in the modern world, in our world now, the center is an idea. We no longer have dynamic centers that are form. Nobody goes down to the Washington Monument and worships and puts flowers there and burns incense. See? But the Washington Monument is the center of America. It's number one right there, you see. The Twin Towers used to be the center, but they came down, and look what that happened. So this dynamic center is like the eye of a hurricane, around which the opposites of reality, the yes and the no, the up and the down, the winning and losing, all go around, integrated in a force that grows. It's a living thing. It's a living force, and everybody gets excited about it. But it's temporary. It has a lifespan because conditions change. So the conditions that are created comp are changing. Now that brings the question is, can DeSantis or some other Republican come in and put on the mantle of Trump? If the king is dead, will there be another king, another dynamic center? I don't think so. I think Trump was unique. I think Trump was a phenomena that cannot be repeated because so much of Trump was part of his personality. It was part of his lifestyle, being a con man, I mean, it all mixed together. You can't really, the conditions that create a hurricane can't be duplicated. Of course, hurricanes happen again because, the warm waters of the, we're not, this is a metaphor, all right? So the question I'm asking, can Trump be, if Trump goes, if Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall, can the Republican Party and all the king's men put him back together again? Or are we going into a new world here in America, where post-Trump, what will post-Trump be like? Will the Republican Party long to recreate the magic of Trump with somebody else, and they will be a imitator, a copier? Or was Trump a unique hurricane? That's a good question. Thanks for dropping in.